Now, in a recent report, the Auditor General also revealed that only 41 of the country's 257 municipalities actually have clean audits for the 2024-25 financial year. In response, Co-operative Governance Minister Velenkosini Hlabisa launched the ongoing review of the 1998 White Paper on Local Government in order to confront the growing service delivery challenges that are gripping a number of local governments. But what needs to be done in order to improve these municipalities? Let's speak more about this with our guest, Research Fellow at the Center for Gender and Africa Studies at the University of the Free State, is Dr. Harlan Cloete, who joins us now via our video link. Doc, it's lovely to see you. Thanks very much indeed for making time to speak to us. Like I said, the mudslinging doesn't seem to be abating at all, and I wonder how much time is actually given to acknowledge that ultimately is what leads to the decay we're seeing in so many of the country's municipalities.
Good morning to you and good morning to the viewers. No, exactly that. We have had local government in crisis for so long. For the past two decades, local government have been in crisis. And it's actually tragic what is happening at the city of Johannesburg. I think if this motion passes, it'll be their 10th mayor since 2021. And communities are quite fed up with this. Communities are not happy with the state of local government. If you look at the state of governance in our municipalities, we are in crisis. We are almost what we call a state of perma-crisis, where local government stumbles from one crisis to another. Of course, all of this can go away politically if the ANC and the DA in the city of Johannesburg, who are the two biggest parties, get their act together and say, we've got 18 months to the next local government elections. Let's get our act together and see how we can bring stability and go into the election. The chance of that happening, I'm not quite sure. And like the previous speaker now said, an hour is a long time in politics. But if I had my way, the ANC and the DA in the city of Johannesburg must show maturity and leadership and get together.
Yeah, and one wonders what it'll take to ultimately get there, especially as you mentioned, when you consider just how much is at stake ahead of next year's local government elections. And as you speak about the fact that this is going to be the 10th mayor, if in fact Kabelo Kwamanda is removed, I can't help but wonder what this does to the levels of trust that people have specifically in governance through politics.
Exactly that. People will just simply not go and vote because people lose confidence. They say that you're all the same. You're all just looking out for your own interest. I mean, if I wish there was a legislation that could allow the community to pass votes of no confidence, because communities are simply losing trust and faith in this sphere of government, local government. And local government, is so important. It's where people experience the love or the indifference of the state. But if you look at the theoretics in the city of Joburg, I mean, it is just unacceptable. We need political maturity to be able to stabilize government, specifically local government, and so that we can get onto the business of local government is working with citizens to make sure that services are delivered.
Absolutely. In fact, during last year's national government elections, we spoke to so many residents who were actually referencing the bread and butter issues and not issues to do with ideology or policy or anything of that like at a national level. So that's certainly a good point. And we're speaking about this, by the way, just off the back of this review of the white paper on local government. And I wonder, Doc, whether there's actually anything wrong with that document as it stands, given the fact that this issue around a lack of political maturity is what is ultimately contributing to the decay, as some people argue.
Look, the White Paper 1998 sets the blueprint, it sets the philosophical, it sets the normative, where is it that we want to go with local government. And it sets out, for example, the White Paper, when I speak to students, I say the White Paper is the mother. From the White Paper flows all these legislation, the Municipal Structures Act, Systems Act, Finance Act, etc. It spells out our philosophy of local government. And it talks about developmental local government, where local government works with communities to make sure that services are delivered in a sustainable manner. Is that local government is where communities also participate actively. But if you look at our system of governance at the local government sphere, it's dysfunctional. The government's own 30-year review last year talked about almost 2/3 of municipalities are dysfunctional. It's not working. And the number one reason, after we have done the review, it all comes down to leadership. Ethical and accountable leadership. Any organization, be it the SABC, ENC, or wherever, if you have good leadership, ethical and accountable leadership, it makes the world of difference. And so I think above all, leadership matters.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, at which point can we start pointing at the leadership at other spheres of government, given just how much has gone wrong at a local government level? I mean, in my mind, there are meant to be checks and balances, ways of intervening, at the very least, for the interest of residents, if things go as wrong as they have over the past couple of years.
No, exactly. We've got a system of cooperative governance, and so the province have got a role to play, the district municipalities have got a role to play, the B municipalities have got a role to play. But we are not necessarily performing that role. The other day in the Free State, the province wanted to intervene, and then the municipality took them to court and they lost the case. I think it was the Majibeng municipality. They lost the case, and the MAC, with his oversight responsibility, placed the municipality under administration. And so billions have been invested into local government, but it's like local government have become tone deaf. And the president of SALGA, President Stofile, said the other day that political parties themselves must also take some of the blame because of the people that they deploy to perform that oversight role. And so it's a very complex institution, because a municipality is defined by the politicians, administrators, and the community. And those three, it's almost like a pointy, they have to work together. But certainly, municipalities, political parties also have to take the blame in terms of the caliber of candidates that they deploy to perform that oversight and leadership role in municipalities.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier that, frankly, the kind of philosophy that governs all of this, which is encapsulated in the white paper, speaks about, developmental objectives, and sociologists speak about inclusive development in some of their own writings. And I wonder how this process could become a whole lot more inclusive than it is, Dr. Harlan, in a context where residents who are disillusioned have actually nowhere else to go at some stage. Many people just want to be involved to finally turn the tide on the situation at a local government level.
But look, they are involved. If you look at the legislation, we've got it's democracy at the grassroots level, grassroots governance. The philosophy is that you can't get an appointment with the president or the premier or the mayor, but you do have a councillor. So representative democracy means that every 5 years people get an opportunity to vote for a person to represent their interests. But it doesn't end there. There's a ward committee that is around that councillor to support that councillor. But if you look at ward committees, the research has indicated that in many cases, the ward committee that is supposed to be representative, broad representation of the interests of that community, women, youth, the age, businesses, those ward committees are either dysfunctional or they become the yes brigade of the councillor. And so it's at the implementation level where we are failing. We've got brilliant policies in this country. It's at the implementation level. It's at the consequence level. It's people into positions that have sometimes no clue what they are doing, and that needs to be changed. So we've got this very good local governance system. It's the implementation where we fail, and the leadership.
Doc, if I had a dime for each time we got to that conclusion in this country, I probably wouldn't have to work a day. But here we are. Dr. Harlan Cloete, thanks as always. Appreciate the insights and the time. Dr. Cloete is a research fellow at the Center for Gender and African Studies with the University of the Free State. All right, we'll see how things unfold in the Johannesburg Council. Once again, those motions set to get underway sometime this morning.